everybody and welcome back. Today's video I'll be showing you how to paint this sunset seascape. This is really simple and you can use any medium, and today I used gouache. So I'm first starting off by taping my paper, my watercolor paper, to my surface using washi tape or masking tape. The paper I'm using today is Canson XL watercolor paper and it's 300 GSM. I really like it and I just recently got it and I totally recommend it. So today I'm going to be using Miyahime gouache. I really like this and I have lots of videos on this paint. You'll also need 2 jars of clean water, a paper towel to blot your paintbrushes, and this is my brush roll and I'm going to be selecting some brushes from here. I'll also be using a ceramic palette. The Miyahime gouache comes with the palette, but today I'm going to be using a ceramic plate. And you'll also need a this is what the paints look like. There are 18 colors, and the color selection is very nice. So I'm going to spray my paints lightly since they are beginning to dry. This is the reference photo that I'll be using today. It will be linked in the description. These are the 3 brushes. I'm using 2 round brushes, a size 4, a size 0, and just a flat brush. So I'm going to first start off by mixing most of the colors that I will be needing for this painting. So I'm going to be using some blue, and this is for the sky. And I'm going to mix a lighter blue, I like to pre-mix my paints on my palette so they can be ready when I need to use them. So next, I'm going to create a purple color using red and the turquoise blue that is still left on my brush. I'll also make a light lavender color. And add a little blue tint to it. Next, we'll be doing some yellow. And I'm going to make a nice vivid dark orange for the middle of the sky. So I'm just mixing a golden yellow with a red. So next I'm grabbing some white and this rose color to make a very light pastel pink. You can pick your own colors and mix them, but these are just the colors that I am personally choosing. So next I have some more white and I'm going to mix this really pretty Prussian blue to make a very light blue. And then I'm going to add some more to it to make a nice light sea blue color like in my reference photo. Then I'll make a darker one. Without any of the white. darken it a little bit with the Prussian blue. If you have the same Amy Mia Gouache palette, you can see all the colors that I'm mixing to get the certain colors. Now I'll be mixing some white with black to create a very light gray. I'll also be using a lot of white today, but I'm not going to separately put it on my palette. So these are the main colors that I'll be using today. I'm going to set my palette aside, and I will mix some more colors later on and add some more colors since gouache dries pretty quickly. So first I'm going to start by using the light turquoise color. Maybe add a little yellow to it to make it a little more warm. And I'll just paint the first part of the sky. So the first little part of the sky is blue, and it's this really beautiful ombre. So I'm going to start off with blue. And now I'm going to grab my pencil and draw a horizontal line marking where the sunset meets the water. So you're just going to paint the sunset until the line be true. So I'm fading the blue a little, and so I can mix more colors into it, like the purple and the pinks. So I'm going to add a neutral color purple, and then I'm going to add in the lavender that we previously mixed, and really try to blend that with the turquoise or teal. And then also adding a hint of pink. And then next I'm going to add some yellow, and that will fade into orange, but really try to blend the colors as you go, and the orange should be really vivid. And the yellow can be a little light since it's just like a tone that fades from the purple to the orange. You can see my arm grabbing some more paint and mixing it on my palette. So now I'm applying the dark, bright orange, and really try to blend all your colors into a cohesive sunset. So here you can see me pulling the brush and trying to blend the yellow and orange. And adding some neutral colors in where the purple and yellow meet to make it feel a little more smooth. So now I'm going to lighten the orange by adding some water to it and pulling it downwards for the next color to create a better ombre effect. So here I've mixed a pale pink, and I'm going to put that down next below the orange. And this also should be blended out. So this pink is one of the last colors of the sunset, and then we'll paint some clouds. I'm adding a little more lavender underneath the pink to help with the next part, which is the clouds. And all of this should be done before you meet the line that you drew. So this light blue color is basically the clouds, and this line that I'm drawing here represents the line which is more for the sunset underneath the clouds. So it'll make sense when you look at the reference photo, and I'll have that linked in the description. Now I'm mixing a lighter color to continue the sunset. You can add more clouds to this if you would like, or add some birds flying over the sunset. That's really pretty. And the reference photo and tutorial is just to help you start your painting, and afterwards you can add your own accents. You can change the colors, you can add different things to it to make it your own style. And yeah, so this light cerulean blue or baby blue color is also going to represent the sunset. It kind of looks like mountains or clouds, but I think this is for the sunset. And now I'm going to draw the horizon line where the sunset and the ocean meet together with this dark, almost black, really dark blue. Now I'm accenting the clouds a little more, making them a little more fluffy. Adding a little white to the clouds to hopefully make it a little more fluffy, since I'm not very skilled in painting clouds, especially in gouache. So now I'm mixing the ocean color, and I'm going to make the ocean color this dark blue, almost kind of like Payne's gray, except has a little more blue to it, and this will be the ocean color. And so just paint the ocean with this dark blue. And just continue to paint that. And then adding a little lighter color to it to make it a little more blended. I'm gonna really try to blend these two colors together. There are lots of waves in this photo, and the tide will come up and there will be lots of foam, so the water won't fully go to the sand, so you should leave some of paper blank where you can add in the sand. And I'm adding this little section of teal because this is where the first wave will be, and I'll make it look a little more realistic. Now I'm getting some dark black to make a little more waves in the dark colors for the waves. And again, you can look at the reference photo to understand what I'm talking about. And then I'm going to add some light gray, because this is where our first wave will be, and there'll be lots of foam right here. So I'm just adding color, kind of like a lavender gray color. I'd say the waves are the hardest part in this painting, and you can really study the reference photo to get it right. I'm adding a tint of yellow because the water is reflecting the sunset, and there's lots of orange and yellow in the sunset. Adding some more black for the next wave that is coming. Adding a little white here to help represent the foam in the wave, since there's lots of foam and white in the reference photo. Next, I'm painting the portion of the water where the tide comes in onto the sand white for all the foam at a little base. There's a little tint of gray in there. Now we're going to paint the sand, essentially. So I'm drawing a line that marks the tide meeting the sand or ground. And this will help create the effect for the tide. And I'm adding a lighter color of that darker blue to make it more realistic, I guess. And we'll fix this and make it better a little later. So now I'm adding some dark shadows for the clouds, the dark clouds. In the reference photo, there's dark little splotches, and I believe those are the dark waves, and the dark clouds are being shadowed over it. And we'll cover these later, so it doesn't have to be very light, but it shouldn't be too dark. Now I'm mixing a light blue color, and I'm going to cover the sand with that blue because it's still wet from the tide coming in, and it will reflect the sunset. So I'm going to add some blue in different places, and also add some yellow and pink. So here I'm adding some yellow and really blending it with the blue. And I'm going to add a pink next. This is a light lavender pink color. So I'm kind of covering up the yellow so it will be super faded since there's not that much yellow and more orange in the sky. So I'm just gonna blend it out to make it look like a nice reflection. Darkening the line for the tide. I'm adding the accents of the shadows in since it got a little more covered, so I'm going to add those in, make it stand out a little more, but I'll also blend that. Now I'm going to get this pink and I'm going to add a little pink underneath the shadows to represent the pink in the sky. Using my smallest brush, this is a size 0, to paint in the ripples in the ocean. So I'm just going to get black, I'm going to load it onto my tiny little brush, and I will make little dots and ripples in the dark part of the water.